broadcasting to viewers in Liberia and across the globe. Hello and welcome to News Today on KMTV. My name is Anthony Kukui. Wherever you're watching us from, we say thanks for joining our news broadcast tonight. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. President of Liberia names Freedom FM and Roots FM as bad apples within the Liberian media landscape. Internal Affairs Minister says government flagship program titled Power to the People should consider the involvement of the ordinary people and poverty-stricken Liberians. And the fate of patients hangs in balance as health workers continue to abandon major hospitals in demand of wages. Welcome to KMTV News. We begin with the President of Liberia, where its president has named two media institutions, Freedom FM and Roots FM, as bad apples within the Liberian media landscape. According to PUR President Charles Coffey, Freedom FM, which is owned by Deputy National Security Agency boss Sam Sion, on September 20, 2019, practiced what he described as unethical journalism by using invectives, inciting people as well as violating the code of ethics. Additionally, he stressed that Roots FM, owned by political commentator Henry Costa, has repeatedly been involved in the practice of bad journalism, something he noted the union would not condone.
But the media in our country is being engulfed with economic constraints. The economy of the country is very unfavorable, the media being victims of circumstances. But I'm particularly concerned about media owners. Some of these media owners are treating their staff, in a manner and form, making them to become very, very much, like the poverty-stricken group. They don't pay their staff. Some of them owe their staff 10 months, 11 months. They are investing personally in themselves. They are investing in the operations of this institution, equipment, leaving out people who are doing the work. I know few institutions that are visited to solve salary problems. This is appalling. It's unacceptable. Reporters are suffering. People work, you don't pay them, you take the money, to develop your capacity personally. This is not good. We just communicated with Mika, the LTA owner letter is here. I sent Mika on. In fact, we are issuing a statement condemning two radio stations, Freedom FM and Roots FM. Freedom FM is owned by Deputy NSA Director Sam Sion. That station on the 20th of September broadcast was very appalling, very defaming, profanity or invectives. Costa has been the usual person engaging in that, insulting also. But that September 20th edition claimed our attention. So these two media institutions, we consider them as bad products among the media institutions. They don't follow our ethics. No ABC or journalists has been followed. The standards are irregular. Regularly they insult, they engage in acts that could cause insecurity. They use invectives that are forbidden by our ethics, our code of ethics. So we describe them as tools of weapons, of insecurity. The abusive institution, that's how we term them. We communicated with the Ministry of Information and LTA that for the press union level, we gave them up. When people say we gave you up, we gave them up because we are exerting frontier effort. Remember, since last we've been doing the warning, I've invited them. There are a lot of complaints here, and we listen to the audio of some of them. If you listen to some of the audio, you say no. So we want LTA to take action in line with laws. We are communicating with Mika to act because they have the regulatory power, for the establishment of this institution. LTA can give frequency, and media can give other permits.
Meanwhile, Mr. Coffey has at the same time frowned at media owners who are enriching themselves at the detriment of their workers. He said the economic condition of reporters and media workers in Liberia is appalling and unacceptable and needs to be addressed immediately.
But the media in our country is being engulfed with economic constraints. The economy of the country is very unfavorable, the media being victims of circumstances. But I'm particularly concerned about media owners. Some of these media owners are treating their staff, in a manner and form, making them to become very, very much, like the poverty-stricken group. They don't pay their staff. Some of them owe their staff 10 months, 11 months. They are investing personally in themselves. They are investing in the operations of this institution equipment, leaving out people who are doing the work. I know few institutions that I visited to solve salary problem. This is appalling. It's unacceptable. Reporters are suffering. People work, you don't pay them, you take the money, to develop your capacity personally. This is not good. Since the formation of the president, we have made progress with repealing repressive media laws. We just decriminalize speech offenses to make a civil offense, but the economic strength of reporters, in the lower divisions is very appalling. The condition is bearable. It has claimed our attention. There are some media institutions that are above the benchmark of the table mountain, the collective bargaining, but some are below the benchmark. But what is heartening is the issue. They are not paying them. Even those who try to pay them, being delayed. Some of the salaries are very low. There is no insurance, no health benefit. When people are sick, the press union putting up escort. But when you investigate some of these institutions, you see that they are well organized, the equipment are intact, the operational funds are available every day, the camera institutions are running, but then when it comes to salary to pay these reporters, they are not paying them. The press union frank on that. We're going to take a serious stance on this. There's no way that people should escape this. It's troublesome.
To this development now, Internal Affairs Minister Vani Serif says government's national flagship program titled Power to the People should be centered around the involvement of ordinary people and poverty-stricken Liberians. Minister Vani Serif told a gathering the attainment of peace and reconciliation can only be achieved when poor people are factor in the national governance system with an aim to eradicate poverty. The Internal Affairs Minister was speaking at the strategic round that's roadmap for national healing, peace building and reconciliation roundtable organized by the Liberia Peace Building Office.
Power to the people. It should not just be on the lip. Power to the people who should be committed and should be serious about it. How can we give power to the people? Their participation. Participation in county council, in the various counties, participation in decision making that affects their lives. So the economy will have to also focus on activities that will help to bring prosperity to our people. With prosperity to our citizens, when the government is talking about reconciliation, it takes it serious. So I want us to see those activities within the different frameworks that we're going to be posting today that will be more supportive of the economy. We have to look at these in these areas. We cannot say we want to reconcile the country. We want everybody to live together in peace when poverty is striking people. Poverty reduction has to be a very pivotal part of what we do here. And that brings to my next point, agriculture. We talk about the Zogos, Zogis, how we can rehabilitate them. This could be one of the ways. Big agriculture undertakings or farms that we can make use of these people, send them there, train them, and they can help to produce food, contribute to food security, reduction in poverty. Poverty reduction has to be very key in whatever costing that we will be doing here.
Also speaking at the occasion was Councillor Ernestine Morgan Award, Assistant Court Administrator at the Judiciary.
Reconciliation is not an event. Reconciliation is a deed in the heart and the minds of the people. And how we work towards that as actors is to ensure that the activities that we proffered today and realigned, and cost should be in concert with ensuring that peace and reconciliation is achieved. We are all here, we know what happened in our country over the past years, and we realize that reconciliation comes from so many sources. We are not reconciled today because some people feel that they have been marginalized. Some people feel that the situation in the country has taken something from them. And some people feel that they have aged and they have no way out. But I can say to you all that the younger ones who are here, the youth, the more vulnerable ones are still around, and we can work around our programs to ensure that their basic lives are empowered. Those who felt in the past or still feel today that they have been marginalized, or the spores of wars have treated them in a way where they have lost, we can rebuild it back into them. Because why? We give back to their children. We give back to their children and their grandchildren, and they realize a better future that we have reconciled the nation. Because what will happen is that if we stand on the pillars of true democracy, and our nation can go out there and say we are at a specific level, then we have caused the economy to boom. And what happens? The government itself will attract money nationally and internationally that will impact our citizens and our society at large. So I hope that we stand today unified and harmonized in a way that will bring true reconciliation to our people with the kind of programs that we will proffer as a priority, the kind of costing we will do, and how realistic these goals will be so that it can be sustained and achievable.
If you just joined, you're watching News Today, have an hour news presentation that brings you up to date with unfoldings in Liberia. My name is Anthony Cook representing. Stay ahead of us. The fate of patients hang in the balance as health workers continue to abandon major hospitals in demand of wages. GFK in focus. This plus many more developments all coming up right after this break. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining. Health workers across Liberia are now becoming protesters due to government's inability to deliver their monthly incentives and other benefits. Another scene of protest by health workers was at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital, where over 50 medical practitioners in an angry tune call on government to address their plight. According to the medical protesters, their action was under the canopy of claiming government's attention after numerous efforts was made to address their concerns were fruitless. This comes after 3 days after some pregnant women had set up roadblocks calling for health workers to be paid because they were denied treatment. Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital Workers Union has assured their continuous action until their demands are met. According to Nucleus COFA, health services are humanitarian ventures that should not be overlooked by government. The JFK Hospital Workers Union spokesman told reporters that though assurance was given to them, but was not enough after numerous attempts to redress their concern.
Until the discussions are held at the ministry. So I don't want you to say people don't want to go to work. Going to work, what is the guarantee of the people going to work? Yes, indeed that the president came, Mr. McGill said, he should be fair, but that's just literature. And there's a memorandum from Nauru that needs to be signed, of which GFK is of no obsession. So the strike action from the nurses today, they told you that it was in solidarity of the national health workers, right? So GFK happened to be a big chapter, cannot make decisions unilaterally. Any decision we make is inclusive of what is unfolding on the overall. So injury to one is injury to one, all right? And if they say in Nauru is saying injury to one, it means injury to one. Is GFK an exception? No. So the memorandum of understanding that is being reached, that is before the government to be signed, GFK is inclusive. My man, what matters most is the patrimony of Liberia, the common denominator of the Liberia come first. And so if we are health workers that we're supposed to see, and government want us to negotiate to have a common ground, it's a way forward to saving life. So we support the idea. We are not striking to kill people, we are striking for issues to be redressed, right? And so once we have the way forward, and building a better Liberia, we don't mind. The people are on strike. I don't think it's something that they're willing to do, but there are conditions that precipitated their actions. And so if the conditions are addressed across the country, they also, in authority, will release the same mandate that brought the people together, that they will resume their economic duty.
Monserrate County District 6 Representative Samuel Enders says he will not affix his signature to the 2019-2020 budget, which does not reflect the true meaning of the proposed agenda. According to him, the budgets of key institutions, including the Ministry of Education, were cut by the Budget Committee, while the budget of the Monrovia City Corporation was significantly increased for the fiscal period. The Monserrate County lawmaker also devoted to the media, that's disclosed to the media, they are going to their annual break without 3 months' salaries and 5 months of gas slaves. Let's take a look.
A war crime court, I think, brings to bear to our people an understanding that their voices have been heard. Their pains are also pains that we feel. And I want to challenge my fellow lawmakers. We've had a time of honeymoon where we supported the government on almost every bill, everything that came, because we wanted to have a time of peace. We will continue to have that time of peace. But I think it is time that we as lawmakers stand up, stand strong, stand tall, and be able to do what we are called to do. Even though people will say a lot about us, we are being called many names, but I think we must stand up. We are not going on the agriculture break. There is nothing in this house called agriculture break. There is no money given any of us to go home to do agriculture work. There is no money given to go for constituent visit. So we are leaving from here with our pay for almost 3 months. We are leaving from here with our gas for almost 5 months. The last time we got gas was May. So June, July, August, September, we haven't had any. So as we go out, we want to continue to do our work. We want to continue to work very hard, but I think a budget must be passed. But a budget, in order for it to pass, must reflect what they call propos. That means seeking the attention of our students, our healthcare workers, medication to our people, and our people must be able to feel it. If in Monrovia we cannot help our people in Monrovia, then what's happening in Nima, in Grand Gita, in Sino, in other places that people are dying on a daily basis? And I think the budget must also be clear. You cannot cut from education and give to Monrovia City Corporation. That is unfair. That's not a fair balance. And if I sign that budget, then I'm telling those people who are dying at ELWA, some of whom was in front of my gate this morning, that, hey, it's better than money go to MCC and not come to you. It is wrong for a city minister to walk in the district and start to waste money around. It is wrong for a city minister to walk in the district and say that you are going to call all of the zonal heads together and start to have meetings. I think it comes to a place where you cross a line. And you don't cross the kind of line with people who have tried their best to support you through the process. So if you want to be a super lawmaker, then tell us you're a super lawmaker. Then we'll consider you a super lawmaker. And I think Mr. McGee is acting as a super lawmaker.
The Elections Coordinating Committee, ECC, has pledged its support to the electoral reform process, which it said is an important component to consider date Liberia's emerging democracy. Speaking at the news conference Monday, a member of the steering committee, Malcolm Joseph, said they are following debates at the national legislature relative to the amendments of series of provisions within the Constitution. He made reference to the Gender Equity Bill to increase women representation at the national legislature, which he noted is crucial to the process.
The Elections Coordinating Committee, the ECC, supports electoral reforms as an important component of deepening and consolidating Liberia's emerging democracy. In pursuit of this agenda, the ECC adopted a participatory and bottom-up approach by consulting a wide range of stakeholders across Liberia's 15 counties. Under constitutional and statutory amendments, mainly the new election law. The ECC wishes to inform the public that it has been following the debate at the national legislature on amending certain provisions in the Constitution of Liberia and the formulation of a gender parity bill to increase women's political representation in the legislature. At this stage, it is unclear what the outcome of these discussions will be, given the limited time frame. However, the ECC urges citizens to remain engaged with the lawmakers as they visit their constituencies in the coming months. At the same time, the Elections Coordinating Committee's electoral reforms advocacy engagement efforts will continue while members of the 54th National Legislature are on their annual legislative break. As part of its advocacy strategy, the ECC will organize legislative constituency town hall meetings in the electoral districts across the country to create the opportunity for citizens and their lawmakers to dialogue on the important democratic exercise.
Is Margon Joseph, a member of the ECC Steering Committee. Well, on that development, that's how we go home on this Thursday's edition of KMTV News Today. But before we go, a recap of the headlines. President of Liberia names Freedom FM and Roots FM as bad apples within the Liberian media landscape, urges government to take action against them for unethical practices. Internal Affairs Minister Vani Sedi says government's flagship program titled Power to the People should consider the involvement of the ordinary and poverty-stricken Liberians. The fate of patients hangs in the balance as health workers continue to abandon major hospitals in demand of wages with GFK in focus. We say many thanks to you for always joining our news broadcast from across the globe. On behalf of the entire news team here, my name is Anthony Kuko. You can also visit our website at www.kmtvliberia.com for more news and information. Until then, good night.